Did you know that readers are leaders? I am a firm believer of that, and I want to share with you one of the books that I have enjoyed tremendously in the last few months. This is a book written by a friend, and most of all, someone that I respect immensely. The name of the book is The Rest of the Man's Show, and it's a deeply personal and powerful memoir that chronicles Pastor Bill Lamoury's transformation from brokenness to redemption and ultimately to a life of purpose and leadership. And this book is going to help you have the practical wisdom and spiritual practices and mindset shifts so that you can heal, grow, and lead a life of significance. So check it out. You can grab it on Amazon or anywhere that books are sold. And I would love for you to support this incredible individual. Remember, The Rest of the Man's Show.
The Rest of the Man's Show offers inspiration and instruction to help you push forward. Releasing April 8th. Get your pre-order now so you can be inspired with one of the most fascinating stories of brokenness, redemption, and transformation.
You may not like me, but when I start to dance, you love me. Rita Moreno. Welcome to Casa de Confidence, a podcast for you. You'll hear some incredible women
And some awesome, cool dudes
going confidently in the direction of their dreams and living in the purpose of their heart.
You're our host,
Julie DeLucca-Collins, and you are our sidekick. Hashtag handsome hot husband.
That again.
And the producer of the show.
That I am.
I am an author, speaker, coach, dreamer, and most of all,
We help people go in the direction of their dreams.
and support them on their purpose. So pull up a chair
Grab a drink.
and make yourself at home because our casa.
Is your casa. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to Casa de Confidence. I'm Dan.
And this is Julie.
Julie, before we begin, I want to let everyone know that today is a special day, and this month has several holidays in it, but the most important one in this household is the one that just passed yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's a national holiday, or it should be.
It is.
Happy birthday, my love.
Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday to Julie.
All right. Well, that's enough. We've had enough of my birthday already.
Yeah. All right.
Well, it's going to be May soon, Dan.
It is going to be May soon.
Do you have any plans for me?
Do I have any plans for you? I do not, but we all know you're the party planner.
I sure am the party planner.
Mm-hmm. I did make reservations for your birthday today, though.
You did, and I told you that we should not go. Which I can't believe I said that.
I know. I made reservations at her favorite restaurant, the Millwright.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
And Chef Tyler Anderson. But he said, no, we'll save that for another day.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think there's so many other things going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I want to focus on, well, for the most part, really putting out my energy into, I don't know, creating a ripple effect, honestly.
We're rippling today?
Well, we're rippling every day. Oh, my goodness.
So, Julie.
Yes, Daniel.
What's up with the quote? Why did you use that quote in particular?
Because Marilyn, our guest today, well, she's pretty spectacular. I met her last year, and I've gotten to know her and her organization more over the course of the year. And I have to say, when you come across a powerhouse of a woman, you have to, sing her praises. And the reason I wanted to talk about dancing is because Marilyn has she is the founder of Latinas in Power. And every year they hold a symposium. And this year is the 22nd annual Latinas in Power Symposium. Now, 22 years and counting. Every time she comes into the symposium and the symposium starts, she comes in doing her salsa dance, and she's pretty spectacular. I actually have her on video, and I'm probably going to share the video from last year in social media so you can see how this woman, man, I want to be her. She is incredible, inspirational. And the one thing that I love is that she's had a fulfilling career in community engagement, airline, pharmaceutical, health, financial services, and, 30 years of marketing. But now, as the founder of Latinas in Power, she is also creating an incredible opportunities for women to support each other. She is the director of the Latinas in Leadership Institute, and some of the things that they are doing within the community are really creating some incredible ways for women who maybe not had an opportunity to be leaders within the workplace or in the community can start to learn about what does it take to be a successful leader? Because listen, Latinas and Latinos right now the population is 23% of an increase overall. But Latinas are earning less compared to white men only. So, if we go in this direction, Latina women probably won't catch up with their white male counterparts till the year 2197. That's a little ridiculous if you ask me.
So it's important work.
Yeah. And, the benefits of the leadership and advocacy program is that the participants have a lot of aha moments, and it brings them self-awareness, and it allows them to just change their perspective in what does it mean to be a leader and influence others within the community with the things that they are learning. So what is your story for today, Daniel?
My story for today?
Yes. What is your story for today?
I was doing some video editing.
Yeah. Well, first of all, that was pretty spectacular what you were doing for Julia Toothaker from the Control Your Career podcast.
Right.
And if you haven't checked out her podcast, you really should. She is one of the LinkedIn top voices, and her episodes are incredibly curated to bring such powerful information. And she has been interviewing recruiters this time around in the season.
Yeah. Check out Control Your Career on YouTube or on podcast platforms.
It's very, very good.
Yeah, it is amazing. Yeah. This week, doing an episode for her where the person doesn't want his face seen. So, and it's kind of neat doing that, doing it a little different, doing it so it's not boring to watch. And I think we really got it.
I think you did.
Anyway.
I think you totally did. Hey, by the way, happy birthday to Casa de Confidence. We forgot to mention that. I almost
forgot our baby turns 5.
That's right. The podcast was launched on my birthday 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh, 5 years of us
talking
to each other. You know what?
Oh, Lord.
You know what I really, really love about the podcast?
What do you love about
Well, there's a lot to love about it, but you know what I really love?
What?
It gives us, time that is dedicated to just sitting here and talking to each other.
Yeah.
And that's very nice. And talking about things. I listen to your brilliance.
You listen to my brilliance. Well, listen, you live with me. There's nothing but brilliance in this household every time I open my mouth.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. That sounded so obnoxious. I take it back.
That was obnoxious.
Oh, Lord.
It's I don't know. It's just funny how we can sit here and we're equals, but any other time, I'm always right. It turns out that I'm right.
Right. Wrong. That's a wrong for sure. Oh, babe, I've interviewed.
Did you just babe me?
I did. Did you want me to call you Boo Boo in the air?
Oh my gosh.
It's getting harder to keep track. You're Boo Boo and
the dogs are Boo Boo sometimes, and yeah,
well,
I'm like, you talking to me or Yogi?
Well, you guys are my boos.
Oh, we are together, Boo Boo.
Well, sometimes you're more boo than he is.
All right. This is, oh my gosh. You're not going to tell the story of the ride on the way home last week from Amanda's little party?
Amanda's? Oh, I have to tell the story. Yes, I must. Okay. We went to our friend Amanda, friend of the show. She's been a guest. Amanda Blakesley from Be the Solution Fitness.
You know what? Why did I bring this up?
Because it's good. Man, it's good content. How can we not share it? So we leave Amanda's house. We've had a wonderful Easter afternoon lunch, late lunch, early dinner. And Amanda lives near the airport. And typically we go the back way and then come home through the highway. So and it's kind of like I wouldn't say rural, but there's a lot of like land out there where she lives.
It's rural enough.
Rural enough. Anyhow, so we're driving. I'm in the back seat and Mom is in the front seat with Dan. And we are in this like 2-lane sort of highway-ish kind of road. There's nothing but woods on either side of us. And then all of a sudden, Dan is screaming and like flailing about.
I wasn't screaming.
Yeah, you were flailing about. And I'm like, what the heck? And he's like, blah, going crazy. And
so I've got 2 women in the car thinking I'm having a heart attack.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, pull over. I don't know what's going on, honestly. It was pretty intense. Mm-hmm. And the next thing you know, Dan is trying to kill a spider that, by the way, I never saw. But he is like flailing about, just
big.
I or so he says. But it
was big enough.
A microscopic spider is too big for Dan. So
it was 2 inches from my face, up on the pillar, where the
pillar,
the B pillar of the car.
I don't even know what that is. The B pillar of the car.
I got to explain this. So if you're sitting in the driver's seat, the A pillar is where the glass from the windshield meets the door. That's a pillar.
Okay.
The B pillar is the vertical in between the front door and the back door. It's called a B pillar. Anyway.
Well, wouldn't believe, everybody, we educated women and men here.
For people who don't know, that's the A pillar, the B pillar.
Casa de Confidence, educating the world on cars and nerdy things.
Where the B pillar is right next to my face because I'm tall. I sit far back. So it's right there in this, whatever.
It was bad.
I was a scaredy cat.
Ooh, yeah. It was pretty intense. And he's swerving all over the place. And he's like, kill it. I'm like, what?
I wasn't able to get it. And you know what? This past week, driving back and forth to work, me and the spider, we're best pals now.
You're best pals. You said, stay in your side of the car and I'll stay in mine and there won't be any problems.
He sits on my shoulder like a parrot.
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm. See, Dan and I have an agreement in this marriage. Mm-hmm. I take care of the spiders who are lovely creatures, and he takes care of the evil, awful frogs that are terrible creatures.
Or snakes.
That's correct. They're all falling within that yuckiness.
They don't bother me.
Well, because you grew up with, there's lots of those. Well, I did not.
My mom did not like snakes.
Your mom and I have a lot in common. That's why she's a good woman,
Anyhow, Julie?
What, Daniel?
I don't know why I brought that up. I just felt,
you wanted me to tell the world.
I didn't want you to feel bad later that you didn't say something.
Yeah, I'm so glad we talked about it because
this is a case of see something, say something. So I said something.
Say something, say something.
All right.
Absolutely. Hey, here's the thing. If you're in the Connecticut area and it is 2025 or any year for that matter, come join us at the Latinas in Power Symposium. I have a table and I'm looking forward to enjoying the day and a full experience with some of the incredible speakers that Marilyn and the team have curated. It's definitely going to be a place where you can make community connections, you can learn, you can grow, you can dance, and just overall have a lot of fun. You know?
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I hope you all enjoy this interview because, well, I always say I hope you enjoy this interview, but I know you're going to. So,
well, how can you not?
I know. Well,
we have a powerhouse like Marilyn. And by the way, you are going to walk away with empowerment over perfection and also the benefits that we find in community with each other. And of course, how we are more powerful as individuals because it's not about competition, it's about collaboration. And our voices matter. Today in this world, sometimes we get people trying to erase our voices. And your story, your power, your culture, your communities matter. And we need to lift up voices.
Well, enjoy listening to these voices, Julie DeLucca-Collins and Marilyn Alverio.
Welcome back to another episode of Casa de Confidence. And you know that if you are listening to us today, and this is a guest episode, we have a powerful speaker. And this woman is someone who I first came across last year at her 21st annual symposium. And she didn't walk into the room. She danced into the room. And this is what she does every time. I was so moved by the event. It really spoke to some of the things that are important to me. And again, I'm an admirer of her work. So I want to have you meet this superstar woman and know about the work that she's doing, because she has an initiative here in Connecticut specifically that is created to offer women's leadership advocacy certificate and is designed for early career and mid-career Latinas in the workplace. And having been a Latina in the workplace many years ago, I needed all the support and mentorship that I could get. And I got some, but not a lot, and especially as a Latina. So anything that I can do to support others who were me way back when, I'm happy to do. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to the incredible Marilyn Alverio. Welcome, Marilyn.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you for inviting me to this wonderful platform. I have been doing podcasts now for a couple of years,
Yay.
And I absolutely love it. A friend of mine, well, it's actually a cohort that I met in a leadership program a couple of years ago. It was Women for Women's Global Leadership Program. Her name is Teresa Gonzalez, which you'll probably meet.
Yeah.
And she runs a podcast out of Chicago. And so I was introduced to the power of podcasting and into the community of podcasting. So I completely just blown away at this community and what they are doing and how to get your message out there. So thank you so much for introducing me. When you said how I come into my conferences, which is always a full room. We had 650 women, Latinas, in the room last year. We're expecting 750 this year. It continues to grow and grow. And I do come in dancing salsa because that is my identity. That's my culture. That's my background. I'm a salsa dancer, have been since I was a little kid.
I love that.
And I just believe that, you don't leave your culture at the door when you enter any room. That is part of your identity. So it has become part of my brand. And so one year I wasn't going to do it. And the women went up in arms. They go, what do you mean you're not going to dance in? And I was like, what I was thinking. They go, no. You have to dance in. So that's become part of my little hook. And people wait and they're like, what song is she going to dance to this year? And so it has become an attraction, I guess.
It's amazing.
I dance through the aisles.
That's
And people
right.
start dancing with me, and then I get up on stage, and it's just like a whole performance, which is very different from a corporate event because it is a corporate event. So a lot of my corporate sponsors even get into it.
Yeah, I love that.
Especially the white men who have first time see something like this, and now they wait for it. So
yeah,
it's pretty intriguing.
It makes it memorable, and I would say that's probably you were someone that was in marketing and also community engagement and pharmaceuticals. So your experience has kind of melded together to create a one of a kind event. And I think that this is one of the premier events here in Hartford. And I moved here 13 years ago. Originally, grew up between Miami and New York City. And I thought I was going to live for the rest of my life in New York City till I fell in love with a Connecticut boy. And he brought me here. But this is home now. And I certainly feel that there's so much richness in our community. And the organizations that are doing a lot of the really great work should be highlighted. And we should continue to support them so they can continue to do the great work. Now, Latinas in Power. This is your organization. You're the founder and executive director. Now, tell me a little bit more about how did that come about? And of course, I mentioned that you have over 30 years of experience. And by the way, over 30 years, you must have started when you were 10, because tell me more about your journey to getting to Latinas in Power.
I'm actually in my third act. I retired from corporate after almost 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah. About 3 years ago. And so my parents came from Puerto Rico, and I was born here, but I grew up in Connecticut in two worlds, my Puerto Rican community world and my Anglo world, which I love both of my worlds.
Yeah.
And so for me, growing up in very humble beginnings in inner city, I didn't have that educational support because my parents had a third grade and a fifth grade education. So they came here for a better life like many other people. But understanding the educational system was not something that I grew up with, my parents grew up with. So the challenges that I faced, even with racism, discrimination, and from the teachers, I remember my second grade teacher, her name was Mrs. McHale. I still remember her.
Yeah, we all remember those teachers, right?
And she said to me, she asked me for a question. I never studied. I didn't know what that was. My parents didn't know what that was. So she asked me the question, and of course I didn't know the answer. And she said to me in front of the whole class, Marilyn, you're stupid. You're just plain stupid.
Oh.
Stayed with me my entire education. So I was always at the bottom of my class. I graduated at the bottom of my class. And fortunately for me, affirmative action came around. It was 1971. I thought I was just going to graduate from high school. They told me I was going to maybe be a bank teller. And so in ninth grade, again, my counselor said to me, so what do you want to do? And I said, well, I'd like to take some biology classes or something like that. She goes, oh, Marilyn, you're just not smart enough. So it's the second time that I was told that I didn't have what it takes.
Oh, I hate that.
And so I internalized that and believed that what it was. But when I got that chance in my senior year, that affirmative action came around and I was selected to go to UConn. I mean, a kid like me to go to a school like UConn was a big deal. So you had to go through this remedial summer program. I got in that fall, just like a regular student, and made Dean's List that year. So it was one of those, So they scratched their head. And how does a kid from inner city come to a school like UConn, make Dean's List? Because I had tutors and support. And that was my first lesson. That was the first time that I said, maybe I'm not stupid. But that whole experience stayed with me so long. So when I jumped into the corporate world, baptism by fire, it was that stayed with me about how I did not have any support going into a Fortune 100 company and not having trusted champions, not having people that I really could look around that looked like me, like everybody says that today. But here we are, I started in the airline industry. I moved into pharmaceuticals. I went into, it was always that corporate thing that kept me moving, always trying to figure out how do I get that to that next step in the ladder and never being able to figure it out. I did reach a director level, which was, I never expected to. So here I'm making really good money in marketing and all this stuff. And then I finally decided one day, you know what? There's got to be other Latinas like me that came up that way. And I said, I'm going to find them and let's get together and discuss. How did you handle that situation when you were in a team meeting and somebody made a derogatory remark about Puerto Ricans? Like, what was your communication style? Did you go Bronx on them? Or did you have a different style, communication style? We shared this stuff with each other and it was funny and it was sad. But we learned so much from each other that we built this network of our own support system. At one point, Julie, we looked at each other and we said, we need to bring more Latinas into this because this is helping us so much. So they looked at me because they knew I was always the one that I started chapters and started organizations my whole life. And they go, Marilyn, if you do something, we will support you. So then I said, okay, because, here I am, my marketing hat came out. And I said, okay, if your company support an initiative, I will do this. So I came up with the name Latinas and Power because I wanted to demonstrate that Latinas have arrived. Yeah. Latinas, this is now 2003. And I said, we have arrived and we need to demonstrate and change the image of Latinas that are really not seen as promotable, that constantly being overlooked and really not viewed as ready for prime time. So I wanted to change that image that, yes, we are. And then I wanted to add the word power because so many women don't really connect themselves with power. Like really demystifying the idea of power. Like, what is it? Who has it? How do you get it? How do you pass it on? To me, we needed to have those conversations that women do not see themselves in a power position. Agreed. So that's always been the premise of everything that I do. And so Latinas in Power was born. So the first thing I did is I said, let's have an event. And the word of mouth, 186 women showed up. And they said to me, Marilyn, please don't stop. And that's how Latinas in Power was born. 22 years later, we sell out all our events, corporate sponsorships. We bring in 100 high school kids from high-risk schools. And it has become the flagship event of New England for Latinas. But not only that, other women come as our allies and they go, I'm Latina for the day.
That's right.
So it's a fabulous, fabulous event. We have breakout sessions, exhibitors. I come in dancing salsa. It is the day that we can celebrate ourselves and what women say. This is where I feel like I belong and that I can be proud of myself, my culture. I don't have to hide. And women are starting to, this is across the country now. That it's happening.
Absolutely.
So that's what Latinas in Power brings, the sense of belonging, sense of connection, sense of pride, and building this thing. So 5 years ago, my sponsor said, Marilyn, we love what you're doing, but we want more. And that was when I was leaving corporate already, heading towards retirement. So this was a one-woman show with volunteers and all this stuff. And so I said, okay, I guess this is what I'm going to do the rest of my life. This is my purpose. So I turned it into a 501c3. So we are now a nonprofit. Amazing. We were positioned to bring money in through foundations and grants. And that's exactly what we did. So the first thing we did with that is to go after grants, because now we can go after money.
That's right.
And we did virtual focus groups. Those virtual focus groups gave us so much information. In fact, we published our first report. I want to show it to you because we're so proud of it. And it's called The Latina Pathway to Excellence in a Post-Pandemic World. And this is how, through the findings, it's on our website, English and Spanish, that we developed the curriculum for our now centerpiece of everything we do, which is the Latinas in Leadership Institute. And that is now our proudest program that we have out there.
Well, so much to unpack. And, I have to say that the pride that you have in your heritage and your culture is something that was definitely passed on to me. My mom is from El Salvador, but my dad is Anglo and Puerto Rican also. And that Puerto Rican blood runs in me. I am incredibly proud of having all these different cultures that make me who I am. Now, one of the things that I'm incredibly passionate in when I started Go Confidently Services, it really came from the desire of me turning back and looking at women that were coming behind me and knowing specifically what I went through and knowing that there was so much doubt, there was so much fights, I guess that you could call it, because let's be real. Latinas earn, what is it, 50 cents to the dollar relative to white men, and
It's
obviously
actually a little bit higher
it's a
now.
little bit higher. Okay,
It's 52.
it's 52. Okay,
Mhm.
so but even at that, right? We're not being considered equals. And yet there is so much richness and so much other things that come into play. And I wanted to create a place where I helped others. And for me, confidence is not about having that confidence and that, because it's not that. It's about practicing the bravery or stepping out, even when you feel you don't have it together. And I think that you're a great example of nobody gave you a rule book with how to run an organization, start an event, begin something as momentous as the Institute. And here you are, and you continue to go confidently, and you encounter challenges, I'm sure, but the gumption of keep doing what you do and really living with that purpose is important. Now, I know that you aim to empower other women, and one of the things through the Institute you have started to do so. Why do you feel that, especially in the current time, that the work that you're doing is incredibly important? And obviously I can talk about that, but I'm curious, to hear what you have to say on that.
Oh, truly. My gosh. I was on a panel in January of this year, and it was at the LOB, the Legislative Office
Mhm,
building. And it had to do with the importance of the work that we're doing in leadership. There was some political women in
mhm,
politics. They started an organization called CLIP, Connecticut Latinas in Politics, and it was really good.
mhm,
And there was a woman on the panel, and it goes right to what you just said about how do we know how to even do this stuff,
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And she said the perfect thing. I quoted her, and I'm going to start using it. And she said, "Do it scared."
Yeah.
And it just
Mhm.
exactly, I have had so many moments where like my stomach went into knots. Like, I don't even know where to start. And so, because I did come from the corporate world, and in
Mhm.
the corporate world, you're really measured by your last success,
That's
like,
right.
you're measured by your last sale, and then you go on and you make another. It's like, you see, and so deliverables and metrics and everything else, that's how,
Mhm,
you're evaluated. And so it was a much, more rigid
mhm,
environment that I came from to coming into a nonprofit world, which is a very different environment. So I joke around about this thing I created. It's a disease called LTL. So I suffer from LTL,
mhm.
which is a made up thing that says it's low tolerance levels. So
Mm.
my LTL kicks in a lot. I have to manage it in ways that, especially now, because it's a different
Yeah.
environment. I've worked on it a lot. I've gotten
Mhm,
way better, and it's because you're working with different people that
yeah.
maybe not have come from corporate.
Mhm,
So that's been a great learning for me. I
mhm,
really appreciate that. But also not really understanding how it works on the nonprofit side in the beginning, was also
mhm.
a learning curve
Right.
for me. So everything that I do, I refined the right people that know how to do it. Just like, everybody knows that, but they don't do it sometimes.
Yeah.
And so you find the right people, you take guidance, you get advisors, you get, that's how I've done everything. The first time that I even thought about this leadership program, I went to a woman in California who was one of my keynote speakers. So now I'm in this leadership in Latinas symposium, and I get great speakers because I was a national director when I was in corporate for all emerging markets kind of stuff. So I have great connections and relationships that I have kept as, being a good person, you attract good people, and they want to follow you. They want to support you. So this woman, her name is Dr. Yasmin Davids, and she has had an institute in the West Coast for many, many years. She does executive leadership. She's a wonderful woman. She was one of my keynotes like maybe 10 years ago. So I call Yasmin, and she has this great institute. And I said, Yasmin, I'm doing this. I don't even know where to start. Like, what does the budget look like? She sent me her budget.
Wow.
That's huge, right?
That's
she goes,
huge.
Okay, I'm going to send you my budget. Here's what you need to do. And she walked me through. Can you imagine? That is women supporting women.
That's women supporting women.
This is about collaboration and not competition. This
100%.
is the message we need to get out to women. Stop being so territorial.
Yeah.
Let us build this platform that we need to work together to support each other. So if somebody steals your ideas, so what?
As long as it's helping others, who cares?
You're not going to do it like you do it.
Yep.
Nobody's going to come dancing salsa in the way I do.
That's
I've seen so many women that try to do it like that. I'm a good salsa dancer. That's
right.
how to do it. So just let that go, and let's see how many more people we can get out there. So that's the first piece of advice that I can tell women, and how I have been successful in this area because I am collaborating with people. So that's, one of the first things that I think is super, super important when, we are starting anything. The second thing is that not just finding the right people to give you direction and everything, but is also to be vulnerable to your mistakes and own them and say, you know what? I just effed up. I need some help. Come on, be vulnerable out there. And so many of us want to I don't want to admit, I just something wrong. I let my team know, hey, listen, I messed up.
I messed up.
How do we clean this thing up? So, let's just be very real with each other and supporting, and, we're human. And so I think that, that's one of the reasons people follow me. When you are a natural leader, I just think that if it's coming from your heart, then it shows. And then people trust you, they believe in you. And those are just the core kinds of, personality traits that you need if you really believe, in what you are doing and the passion that goes along with it. Yeah, it will happen.
I want to unpack a lot of this because I think that you mentioned some of the things that are very central to the message that I like to put out. And by the way, last year in the event last year, Trisha Montalvo Tim, I sat through her keynote and I cried.
Yeah, many people.
I get a little emotional when I think about this because she talked about, and I've often shared this on the podcast, that she talked about her story of being this attorney in this firm, and she was climbing this corporate ladder. And after hours, as she worked late, she sat and she was in the building with the cleaning crew. And she would speak to the cleaning crew. And I remember that there were many, many months and years as I was climbing my corporate ladder that I never hid the fact that I was Latina. And yet I was the one who, those were my companions many times as I stayed late at work. And I remember thinking, if I can do it, these people are working hard, and then they can see that it's possible for them or for their children, and to start to really look at the possibilities. And I think that you talk often about being authentic, and you are authentic. And I think that that comes through in the work that you do. And for so many people, whether you're a Latina or from another minority, or, you're just not just, but you're a woman, I want you to know that your success is not going to come from the perfection. It's going to come from your identity, from embracing who you are, and knowing that it's okay to feel like the outsider.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But find your people, and you will be able to move across success. Now, you touched on collaboration and not competition. And for so many years, there has been that toxicity in which women fight with each other, and that whole tall poppy syndrome, as it's called. I think that this is
I didn't hear tall poppy.
Yeah, tall poppy syndrome. I actually did I spoke at the
write that one down.
I spoke at the Western Massachusetts conference on that. And one of the things, as I keep doing some of the research, Marilyn, is most of us, and I will say, not proud at all, there was a time in which I could have gone into the tall poppy syndrome, and I did, mainly because I did not, like you mentioned, want to acknowledge my mistakes. I did not want to acknowledge, right, that I didn't have it together. And when I saw others coming up the rank, I felt threatened. And from some of the work that I've done and the research that I've been working through personally, that comes from some of the things that we carry that were not enough, that stories that we tell ourselves. Kind of like you had a story that was given to you by your teachers and by the school officials. And overcoming that is the one step forward that can help you know and begin with that growth mindset, right? That we're collaborators, that we're supporters, that we are in this together. And if you win, I win as well.
Right. Oh my gosh, that is so true. When Trisha was speaking last year, and now you say it again, and that happened to me too when I reached, to reach a director level in a Fortune 100 company making close to 200,000 is a big deal for somebody like us.
That's right.
That comes from, a very low blue collar category, right? And so that end of the day experience, especially you being El Salvadorian, her being El Salvadorian, but this Puerto Rican cleaning lady, at the end of the day, it would be like 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, and I'd be in my beautiful little office. And we, at the end of the day, and we'd have these wonderful little conversations. So when Trisha says that story, I know a lot of us went through it. And we were able to just do our Puerto Rican, she was Puerto Rican conversation thing, and really, come on down home with it. So a lot of us had experienced that. But one thing that I did want to say, I never heard of the tall poppy syndrome, is that in Trisha's book, which is just off the top of my head, is
I have it in my bookshelf.
Yeah. It's I just spoke about it the other day. I know. It's
going to come to us. It's going to come to us.
It's going to come to us. And what so many Latinas go through, especially because colorism is still a big deal.
It's still a big deal. Absolutely.
A big deal. So Latinas that are very light-skinned, straighter hair, and Latinas that are Afro-Latinas, more like me, and then those that are even darker Latinas have a whole completely different experience in the workplace. And so for her, she admitted that she could pass.
That's right.
And so most of her career becoming a top corporate attorney in an all-white male firm, and having to not hide it, but not speaking up on behalf of anyone. And then got to that point where she realized what it did to her. And then she busted out.
This
woman now does almost, she's
a powerhouse.
She's a powerhouse today for people like me, supporting me. She's on my advisory council. She opens the door for me. She introduces me to influential women from across the country. She is paying it forward, because when it hit her, to realize what it did to her was so powerful. So we have a lot of women in this country that made it through but now are realizing how it impacted them personally.
Yeah.
So that's good. The other thing that is happening today, which is absolutely beautiful, is that more and more Afro-Latinas are being given the opportunity,
Yeah.
but not enough opportunity is happening. So you probably saw the most recent report that came out by Sheryl Sandberg's Lean In organization.
Yep, I saw that.
Yeah. So it is the first research report done by that organization. They've been around for a long time, but on Latinas. And there's been a few, Nielsen did a few, but those were mostly on consumer behavior. It wasn't really on anything to do with the workplace and anything like that. So this is like the first report. Our little report, in fact, the Latina Pathway to Excellence in a Post-Pandemic World, has been downloaded so many times on the internet when people go looking for Latinas, the workplace. Our little report, I mean, it was a small sample of maybe 30 women.
That's right.
Downloaded. And so I just find that fascinating. So this report was, I think it was maybe 400 or 500 women, sounds the alarm.
Yeah.
That instead of increasing in representation in the corporate arena, we are going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
so the way that they are just talking about this very disturbing trend that we are facing the steepest climb. And so this underrepresentation, starting from the C-suite, but also at entry level, like Latinas represent less than 1% in the C-suite, that in executive levels, less than 4% in management roles.
That's
Yet
right.
we are the largest work group behind white women. We represent the largest work group behind white women. And so 13 million Latinas in the workplace and the largest white work group. Yeah. Yet, there are broken rungs along the way that they have identified. And not only have they identified these broken rungs, but they're also giving corporate America some interventions and solutions that they could be following. So, there's an alarm out there right now that companies should be looking for. And guess what? I have taken that report and I'm integrating it to everything I speak to. When I'm a speaker, when I'm on a panel, I'm in fact, our conference this year, the main stage panel is about that report. Yeah. We have Daisy Alguer Dominguez, which was a contributor to that report.
Amazing.
I just think that we women, not just the Latina thing, right. It's a BIPOC thing. It's all women need to be taking existing information about what is happening and why women are not represented, taking information, data. They listen to data and taking the existing data and putting what do you call those megaphones?
Yeah.
Put a megaphone out
and
there.
Turn it on.
And turn it on. So I think, that's the kind of stuff we need to be talking about. I mean, here in Connecticut, I know that, our population here is over 750,000. And there's over 50% of that are Latinas.
Yeah.
And then the ones that are in the workplace right now, we need to help boost them up. So
Absolutely.
That's why my leadership program is targeting those women to help them level up, to help them.
And I love
the
that.
Skills.
I love that about your program because according to the report from Sandberg, and I'll have the link to the report. I know I've linked it before, but this is such a worthwhile conversation. We have Latinas that have reached director, VP, senior VP in the C-suite. I in that small 1% that hit the C-suite at one point. And I know it wasn't easy, right? But the rung is broken. A lot of the women in that middle management are not there. And the ones who are not given the support or are in a place to continue to kind of manage both the workplace and their own families and responsibilities. So this is, we've made progress as women in 50 years, but there is so much more work to do. And programs like yours are the ones that are giving the tips, the tools, the support, the community to the women who are going to be those women coming up the rung, and then in turn sending the elevator back down for others. By the way, Embrace the Power of You is her book.
Embrace the Power of You. Yeah. Julie, I have to say what you just talked about is so important in this report. And so not too long ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago, I read this. It had these, they gave us these metaphors now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you've heard these metaphors, but I just absolutely love them. So we've heard of glass ceiling and all that stuff, but I love these metaphors that I just found out about, and I'm integrating them into everything. The first one is the glass cliff. Have you heard of the glass cliff?
No, tell me more. I think we need to hear this.
Yes. So the glass cliff is appointed to women of color, to those leadership positions when an organization's conditions are risky and precarious. And that's called the glass cliff, because risky, you can fall right over. The second one is the concrete ceiling. Okay. And that metaphor represents a degree for especially African-American women and other women of color, that they're striving to conquer challenges of becoming the leader. So they're striving to conquer that. The third one is the sticky floor.
Oh, I know the sticky floor.
The sticky floor is women of color prevented from any kind of advancement beyond that entry level.
That's right.
Which is that first rung that is broken. If you can't get into a management role, how the hell are you going to get into any kind of a leadership role? And then the last one is the adobe ceiling, which is a metaphor for the dense and muddy barriers that Latinas have to navigate to attain any kind of leadership roles. So I read about these new metaphors the other day. I'm like, I'm going to tell everybody about that.
I need to go and read more into that. But I think that you're absolutely correct. There are all these different perils, right? And I have friends that are white and have had some opportunities, but it's hard to explain to them because they've never, struggle to maybe move to a different opportunity within the organization. They've never had to contend with maybe being judged because of their last name, because of the color of their skin, because of maybe having a slight accent. And these opportunities are not given to them. You know, I think back to my mom. And again, my mom is someone who is a highly educated woman. She studied at Georgetown University. She went and studied in Barcelona. But she never was able to get past certain roles because all of these ceilings were preventing her. And there weren't any programs that were saying, hey, Maria Teresa, you can do it. Or this is how, let me walk you through, and helping her stand up and advocate for herself. And this is why the work that you do is incredibly important, because it's not only opening doors for the women that are part of the Institute, but for the women that they in turn will continue to come in contact with. Because like we said, when one woman wins, we all win. And right now, many organizations are not they review women of color with harsher standards. And this is something that has been proven time and time again. And this is something that people don't talk about and don't realize.
Yeah. Well, in that same report, the Lean-In report, it talks about, how so many of us have the remote capabilities and the flexibility and all of that. And in that same chart, it shows white men, white women, and then when it comes to women of color, there's less flexibility because they don't trust us. And so you see the way less flexibility, you see the kind of microaggressions that are taking place that so many white women, they don't experience those. So those microaggressions and the way they show up is, how they, like in a meeting, if you start to increase your voice level, oh, aren't you fired up? Like hot,
You're a fiery Latina.
Yeah, fiery Latina, which is,
I've heard that so many times.
I used to get a lot, oh, but Marilyn, you're the exception, not the rule. You don't even have an accent. If I count the number of times that has happened, because when I speak Spanish, I don't have an accent either. I mean, like when I go to Puerto Rico, they go, ¿qué pasa de la isla tú eres, nena? ¿Tú sabes de qué parte tú eres? Yo say, no, yo soy allá. No, tú no eres de allá, tú eres de acá. And they want to know what part, because I speak like, I speak like my mother. My mother was very del campo, ¿verdad? And so I speak like her because I spoke Spanish in the home. And then because I live in two worlds. And somebody said, that must be very exhausting. I said, yes, it is. Because we have to do 150% every single day.
Every single time. My husband makes fun of me because he says that depending on what part of the family I'm hanging out with, that's how my Spanish accent comes out. When I was in Spain, I was at a bed and breakfast, and I happened to be on the phone with him. And again, he's been hearing my Spanish because I was in Spain. And all of a sudden, someone came into the room that was Argentinian, and I started speaking to him. And I, of course, right away, I pick it up, and he's like, well, that's a new Spanish I've never heard.
Is that funny or what? That same thing happened to me when I was in Spain, when I was in Peru. I mean, even when I'm in Brazil and you're doing that whole combination of Spanish and
Portuguese,
and then Mexico, and then when I'm in Puerto Rico, I feel so at home. And Dominican Republic is kind of like the same too, but it's fun because you really feel like you could code switch so easily in our people like us. But I mean, it could be very exhausting. You really have to be able to read the room. And that's why I really believe that Latinas are positioned to become one of the most influential, leaders in the world, because we have always had to deal with working in adversity and inclusion worlds of all kinds. So I just think it's in our DNA. So,
it's absolutely in our DNA for sure. I just realized I could talk to you all day. There's so many different topics that we can go on.
I know.
I want to be sensitive of your time. Who right now would you say is one of the women that you admire and that are Latinas and are just making waves? Who comes to mind right now?
Oh, this is a good question because I have been thinking lately, sadly, that we do not have any Latina leaders in this country.
Yeah.
We are still operating in silos. And I'm waiting and looking for that, which is why I'm starting this new initiative, which is just these Zoom meetings with Latino organizations so that we can just start sharing each other's work. So here in New England, I've already talked to 5 organizations to say, let's just have some Zoom meetings and share with each other what we are doing, because there really is no one organization that we could say that is. Now, I know America Ferreira, they did Poderistas, and, that, she's got a big name, but she does live in London. But I heard her speak. I was at an event at the Comcast Center in Philadelphia not too long ago. She has such a powerful message and how she comes across. But, she's got a family and she's got, she's got a lot of responsibilities. But I just see her as, wow, this woman could really be a good person. When it's celebrities, it's kind of hard to do. But I really don't see one specific person. There's individuals in their area. Like I'm here in Florida right now, meeting with Carolyn Aronson. She is the CEO of It's a 10 Products. She's Puerto Rican, one of the wealthiest women in the country right now. And she's taken me under her wing to help me introduce we're meeting the mayor's wife in a couple of days in Miami to kind of bring my work down here. And so she's opening doors for me because she loves our work.
Amazing.
And so from the entrepreneurial world, I mean, she's got a great voice. So you see, in silos, we have good people. But as overall, one, I'm waiting for, and I'm hoping to bring what I bring to the table to that person and bring our little army there.
Yeah.
I'm building a comadreship.
Oh, comadreship. I love that.
And I just actually trademarked it. So I'm excited as well.
So good.
So
well, you're doing a lot of really exciting things. You're really creating a pathway that others can come by, and having nieces that I aim to hopefully give a voice to, hopefully set an example, give them the wings that, they can then go and do the things. That's really one of the things that drives me. And I love that you are creating the space where my nieces can then have more opportunity. And I'm so grateful. I cannot wait for Latinas in Power.
May 29th. Connecticut.
Tickets are on sale now, and people get your tickets. I have a table. I'm going to try to fill 2 tables, but come get a ticket, come dance with us, come hang out.
Latinas, you can go to Latinas and Power, not in, Latinas, ANDpower.com.
That's right. And if you want to attend and you're not able to, talk to me, because I will sponsor you as well. I am happy to sponsor somebody to be there, be present. And again, I'm so grateful for the work that you do. You are a driving force, and I'm so glad that we're in each other's universe. I don't know how is it that I lived in Connecticut for 12 years without knowing you, and we've probably been in similar rooms, but I am a fan of the work that you do, and I will continue to support you. Now, how do people find you? Where can people connect with you, maybe contribute to the organization? And if they want to be part of the Leadership Institute, which is Latinas in Leadership. And again, we'll put all the information in the show notes, but how can people then get involved?
Yeah. My email is so easy. It's Marilyn, my name, Marilyn at latinasandpower.com. And or go to the website latinasandpower.com, and all the information is there. We also have an online community called La Mesa Latina. Of course, that's going really well. We have a book of the month. We have speakers of the month. And so if you're a Latina that wants to be a speaker on our online community, you're welcome there. I mean, my niche is for Latinas to help level up Latinas. So I know some people go, well, what about us? I'm like, okay, well, my little, the energy that I have is for this, because we've been so far behind for so long. And so, but that's how you could reach me. I encourage you to, and please join our comadreship.
Absolutely. And by the way, I'm a member of the community. I have not been hanging out there. I downloaded the app. I have it. I get the notifications, but you have inspired me to take the next step and become a premium member for the membership, because this is where I want to be and where I want to go ahead and continue to support people.
Come on as a speaker about the podcast.
Anytime.
Okay.
Well, everybody, my friends, please connect with Marilyn, and I want to give you a takeaway. Maybe you're not in Connecticut, but there's communities around you that have people that need allies, supporters. And I promise you, my friend, if you become a supporter of other women or marginalized people, you are not giving anything away, but in turn, you are going to be gaining so much. And I want you to go and find those and tell me about it. Tell Marilyn about it. We would love to cheer you on in those efforts. And until next time, thank you, Marilyn, and my friends. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams.
Thank you, Julie.
Thanks for listening to Casa de Confidence. We thank you for listening, and if you want more, go to casadeconfidencepod.com. Check Julie out on her socials as Julie DeLucca-Collins. And you can also check out her website at goconfidentlycoaching.com. Have a great week, and don't forget, Go confidently in the direction of your dreams.
Hi, everybody. I know that sometimes we get very lonely in this entrepreneur journey, and I want to invite you to join us into our limited time only Purposeful You Mastermind. For many of us entrepreneurs, we believe that we can do it all, but the reality is that doing it alone only creates a lot of overwhelm. So join us at the Purposeful You Mastermind. You can find out more information by going to bit.ly/Julie's Mastermind. This is going to be the place where you are able to then unlock your full potential and achieve long-term success for your business, push you behind your current limits, expand your connections, discover new ideas, and implement them with confidence. You're going to get the support in all aspects and transforming you to the six-figure business you've been looking for. Pause and get off the hamster wheel if you've been spinning around. This is a time where you can get that support from like-minded entrepreneurs that are here to join you in your journey. Together, we can challenge the assumptions and land the speaking engagements and opportunities we want to grow our business and make an impact in the lives of people. See you then. Remember, you can find the mastermind at bit.ly, Julie's Mastermind.